This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Friday, February 27th, 2026. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
Hillary Clinton told the House Oversight Committee she had no knowledge of crimes by Jeffrey Epstein or his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm Jennifer King.
The U.S. and Iran have ended their latest round of indirect nuclear talks without reaching a deal. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
The Cuban government responding to the shooting on a vessel it says was near Cuban waters. I'm Clayton Neville.
On Wall Street, on this final trading day of February, only the Dow is on pace to finish the month in the green. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
A Columbia University student detained, then released by ICE, and questions remain about how ICE gained access to her apartment. I'm Joan Jones.
State of the Union address. The longest speech, but not the most viewers. All ahead on America in the Morning. In an extraordinary closed-door hearing that at one point had to be halted when a GOP member of the committee sent out a picture that was posted on social media, Hillary Clinton on Thursday spent 6 hours answering House Oversight Committee questions regarding Jeffrey Epstein, someone that the former First Lady and Secretary of State said under oath she never met. Correspondent Jennifer King has details.
I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island. I never went to his homes. I never went to his offices.
After closed-door questioning that lasted 6 hours, Hillary Clinton repeated her demand that her deposition be opened to reporters. The former Secretary of State told the House Oversight Committee she had no knowledge of crimes by Jeffrey Epstein or his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell.
It was disappointing that they refused to hold a public hearing, so I wouldn't have to be out here characterizing it for you. You could have seen it for yourself. We had asked for that. We think it would have been better for the committee and its efforts to gather whatever information they are seeking.
The questioning in Chappaqua, New York, was paused after Republican Lauren Boebert violated committee rules by sending a photo from the deposition to a conservative influencer.
What stood out to you, Congresswoman, from the deposition so far?
I really admired her complete suit, so I wanted to capture that for everyone.
Anything else that she said?
Why did you send the picture?
Why not?
The Clintons only agreed to talk after Republican Committee Chair James Comer rejected their offers of sworn statements and threatened criminal contempt charges.
No one's accusing at this moment the Clintons of any wrongdoing. They're going to have due process. But we have a lot of questions, and the purpose of the whole investigation is to try to understand many things about Epstein. How did he accumulate so much wealth? How was he able to surround himself with some of the most powerful men in the world?
Bill Clinton is also being made to testify, a first for a former president. Committee Democrat Robert Garcia says the Clintons are not the only ones who need to answer for their connection to Epstein.
I hope that Chairman Comer and the Republicans will join us in demanding that the person who actually appears more times in the files than the former president, who we want to speak with, is President Donald Trump. And so let's get President Trump in front of our committee.
I'm Jennifer King.
Iran and the United States held hours of indirect negotiations Thursday over Tehran's nuclear program, but walked away without a deal, leaving the danger of another Mideast war on the table. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports the prospect of military action against Iran is growing, as is the air and naval forces the U.S. is moving into the region.
The U.S. and Iran have ended their latest round of indirect nuclear talks without reaching a deal, leaving the prospect of another Mideast war on the table.
We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon.
Oman's top diplomat who mediated the talks said there was significant progress, but just before the talks in Geneva ended, Iranian state TV indicated Tehran was not prepared to meet President Trump's demands to constrain its program.
Iran possesses a very large number of ballistic missiles, particularly short-range ballistic missiles that threaten the United States and our bases in the region and our partners in the region. And all of our bases in the UAE, in Qatar, in Bahrain. And they also possess naval assets that threaten shipping and try to threaten the U.S. Navy. So I want everybody to understand that beyond just the nuclear program, they possess these conventional weapons that are solely designed to attack America and attack Americans if they so choose to do so.
The negotiations came during a week where the Trump administration said Iran should not rebuild parts of a nuclear program the U.S. attacked in June.
And here they are. You can see them always trying to rebuild elements of it.
The principle is very simple.
I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
The U.S. has massively built up military forces in the Middle East. Iran's top diplomat tells India Today TV that could lead to a devastating regional war.
There would be no victory for anybody.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
The top stories of the day are sponsored by Sleep Number. Save on personalized comfort during Sleep Number's President's Day sale. Their best deals are on now. Limited time, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com. When we return on America in the Morning, Cuban military incidents results in an American death after these messages. America in the Morning continues with hopes that March comes in like a lamb. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton with the forecast.
As a cold front presses slowly toward the south today, it will take wet weather closer to the Gulf Coast as well. And this may be generally welcome news with the ongoing drought in place, thanks to a rather dry winter so far for many in the southeast. This front will mean rain and areas of drizzle as far to the north as North Carolina, especially the eastern part of the state, with any steady rain likely tracking from there south and west toward south central Georgia, perhaps toward the Florida border. Otherwise, the precipitation turns more showery from there southward into northern Florida, southern Alabama, even toward the New Orleans area, with any thunder most likely near and along the Gulf Coast from Louisiana to southern South Carolina. Today, or especially tonight, will also have a snowy side, with a cold front making its way southward out of Canada into some of the northern states. During the daylight hours of today, the snow should be generally confined to northern parts of Montana, but as that storm continues on that southward track, tonight should bring snow into a fairly narrow zone, including eastern Montana, parts of the Dakotas, perhaps even some areas along at least the western part of the Minnesota-Iowa border. Overall, total snow within this zone should fall within a range of just a coating up to an inch or two through tonight, passing through the Great Lakes on Saturday and then the Northeast on Sunday. For today, though, both the Great Lakes and the Northeast look to be dry, with temperatures trending upward in many places under more sun than clouds. In fact, many places from New England, south and west across the Ohio Valley, the Plains, even the Southwest and Rockies, end up with little more than perhaps some clouds as northwestern Washington gets some light showers. In Savannah, Georgia, today brings periods of rain and thunder and a high of 66. For Bishop, California, it's looking quite warm today with some sunshine, the high 76. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. New details are being learned as Cuba's government said the 10 passengers on a boat that opened fire on its soldiers were armed Cubans living in the U.S., and at least one was an American citizen. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
The Cuban government says the passengers on the ship were terrorists trying to infiltrate the island. The Cuban military killed 4 people and injured 6 others on the Florida-registered speedboat that the government says entered Cuban waters and opened fire on the soldiers first. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
The majority of the information we still possess is what Cuban authorities are providing both the public and the U.S. government. We have our embassy on the ground in Havana working this as we speak, asking for access to the people that were on those vessels if they were American citizens.
Axios is reporting the boat was stolen from the Florida Keys, and Cuba's government said the majority of the 10 people on the boat have a known history of criminal and violent activity. According to Axios, at least one of those killed was a U.S. citizen. Another hurt was from the U.S. At least one person on board had a current U.S. visa, and others who were on the boat are believed to be legal permanent residents of the United States. I'm Clayton Neville.
The U.S. military used a laser Thursday to shoot down a Customs and Border Protection drone, according to members of Congress who spoke to the media. There are questions as to exactly what happened, as ABC News is reporting the drone shoot-down was accidental. The area in question has seen incursions before from drug cartel drones that came in from Mexico. As that laser strike was happening, the Federal Aviation Administration responded by temporarily closing more airspace near El Paso, Texas. Earlier this month, the FAA shut down the airspace and halted all flights at the El Paso airport for 8 hours when a test of the laser system was underway. The FAA and Pentagon have not commented on Thursday's actions. Major U.S. auto insurer lowering rates and offering cash back. When America in the Morning returns after these messages. After today, we turn the calendar on a new page on Wall Street. Here's a look with CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after a mixed day for stocks yesterday. Today is the final day of February trading. Only the Dow's in the green for the month. The Nasdaq's coming off its worst day in 2 weeks from yesterday. Warner Brothers Discovery will be bought by Paramount Skydance. Netflix declined to raise its bid for the company. Once the Paramount Skydance purchase of Warner Brothers Discovery goes through, one company will own part of TikTok, CNN, and CBS News. Netflix decided to walk away from the deal to buy Warner Brothers Discovery after the CEO met with President Trump at the White House. Netflix ultimately deciding not to pay more. NVIDIA shares tanked yesterday by 5%. Investors yet again shrugged off blowout quarterly results.
Number one, this stock never rallies after earnings. I don't know if people realize that. So if you're a person that buys the stock on the day of earnings thinking you're going to get a plus 8% the next day, I'm sorry. Look at a chart. Not a great strategy.
That's Ritholtz Welt's Josh Brown on CNBC. State Farm lowering auto insurance premiums and offering customers some cash back?
A whopping $5 billion for its car insurance members. The mutual insurance company says that is on top of lowering premiums by about 10% across 40 states. Auto repair costs are finally starting to decline, and there were not as many crashes in 2025, so that's what's leading to these lower rates. But car insurance premiums, of course, soared, climbing by more than 50% over 3 years. That led to customers increasingly shopping around, trying to get better deals.
Ford recalling nearly 4.5 million vehicles because of a software flaw in the integrated trailer module. The problem affects vehicles that tow trailers where lights or braking could fail. Instagram says it'll notify parents if teens repeatedly search for terms related to suicide. Instagram is a sister company to Facebook, both owned by Meta, and this comes as Meta is in the midst of 2 trials over harming kids. The NBA taking a page out of the NFL playbook, looking internationally to expand.
It started to percolate late last year that the NBA was interested in developing a brand new league called NBA Europe. What the NBA wants here is 10 to 12 permanent teams in this new league, NBA Europe, and they would be housed in the largest media markets throughout Europe. Think London and Paris and Athens and Berlin. And some of them, by the way, kind of for the first time. Basketball really isn't played at a real professional level in a market like London.
CNBC's Alex Sherman. On today's watch list, we get the latest on inflation at the wholesale level. Mega Millions tonight, $458 million.
CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. It's no bromance, but Trump and Mamdani are cooperating. When America in the Morning returns after these messages. The numbers are in. An estimated 32.6 million people tuned into President Trump's State of the Union address Tuesday evening, according to Nielsen. While the president set records for the longest ever address and overall word count, it didn't set records with watchers. The number of viewers was lower than in any of Trump's first 5 addresses to Congress or previous State of the Union speeches in his previous administration. The largest State of the Union audience ever goes to Bill Clinton, with over 66 million people watching his 1993 address to the nation. A Columbia University student was detained by ICE agents at her apartment Thursday morning, sparking a protest on campus. Joan Jones reports she won her release thanks to the unusual relationship between President Trump and New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani.
The New York City mayor traveled to D.C. for what's described as an unscheduled meeting focused on Big Apple housing issues. John Nichols is executive editor at The Nation, speaking on MS Now.
He believes it is very important to maintain a relationship with Donald Trump.
When he returned to New York City, Mamdani reportedly placed a phone call to President Trump pleading for the release of that student. Her name is Elena Agieva, and President Trump worked his magic. Agieva was scheduled to be released. DHS says she is an illegal immigrant from Azerbaijan, and her student visa was terminated by the Obama administration in 2016 for failing to attend classes. New York Governor Kathy Hochul smells something fishy.
I want to know if they had a warrant, what the conditions of that arrest were, and we're still looking for more information.
Among the questions that remain, reports said the agents told campus security officers they were investigating a missing persons case involving a 5-year-old girl. Governor Kathy Hochul slammed the arrest. I'm Joan Jones.
America in the Morning for Friday, February 27th, 2026 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Coming up this half hour.
President Trump tangles with Democrats in the longest State of the Union speech in history.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
Today's the last day to vote early in the Texas primary elections. I'm Clayton Neville.
Memorial services for Reverend Jesse Jackson begin in Chicago. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
FedEx says it will pass along tariff refunds to shippers and consumers. I'm Ed Donahue.
The choice for Surgeon General facing resistance, World Cup concerns for Mexico, and gas prices closing in on $3 a gallon again.
After a successful reboot and a short hiatus, the Scream franchise takes another stab at more victims. I'm Kevin Carr.
Back after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. Talking more snowfall. AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton with the Friday forecast.
The latest cold front sinking southward out of Canada, and the blast of chilly air that it will bring should help to produce the next round of snow from the interior northwest right into parts of the plains through tonight. AccuWeather winter weather experts say that this cold front won't be likely to create a wide swath of snow, but more like a narrow band that tracks across that region, with the steadiest snow favoring just north-central Montana through the day, but expanding southward at night through eastern Montana. The late night snow should get into the eastern Dakotas and may even reach northwestern Iowa, with a general coating to an inch or two of accumulation expected before that snow heads into the Great Lakes later on Saturday. That cold front will be attached to an area of low pressure heading eastward in Ontario, Canada, and parts of northeastern Minnesota near the Canadian border may be close enough to it for some snow or lighter flurries today. Otherwise, many places from the Midwest through New England, the Mid-Atlantic, and even the South should be dry today, along with the desert Southwest and much of the West Coast as well. There will be at least one exception to those dry conditions, and likely two. First, wet weather very much continues today over the southeast, where a slow-moving cold front sinks even closer to the Gulf Coast through the day to provide areas of much-needed steady rain and embedded downpours from thunderstorms from mainly eastern North Carolina through southern Georgia, with showers and thunderstorms from northern Florida into southeastern Louisiana to help with the areas of drought that have been rather persistent over the past weeks and months. The second area where there may be some lesser precipitation, at least in terms of intensity, is Washington State, where zones of lighter rain and even some drizzle should be most prevalent early in the day. The rest of the West faces a good deal of sunshine. That's the weather across America. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. The House Oversight Committee brought former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to testify about alleged connections between her and disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. With former President Bill Clinton testifying today, correspondent John Stolnis is in Washington.
The roughly 7-hour deposition behind closed doors saw Clinton answer questions about what relationship she and her family had with the now deceased Epstein. After it was over, Clinton spoke to reporters.
I answered every one of their questions as fully as I could.
Clinton denied knowing Epstein at all.
I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance. But whatever they asked me, I did my very best to respond. I started being asked about UFOs and a series of questions about Pizzagate, one of the most vile, bogus conspiracy theories that was propagated on the internet.
She said committee members kept asking her the same questions over and over.
I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island. I never went to his homes. I never went to his offices. So it's on the record numerous times.
House Oversight Chairman James Comer explained to Fox News why they did that.
The reason she was asked so many times is we kept presenting new items of evidence, emails from Epstein where he implied that he was very close with the Clinton family, including Hillary.
At one point, the hearing was halted after Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert took a picture of Clinton during the hearing and used her phone to send it to a conservative influencer, a violation of the rules agreed to by both sides. Comer was asked by reporters why they haven't asked President Trump to sit for a deposition yet.
President Trump has answered hundreds, if not thousands, of questions from you all about Epstein, and I think he's been very transparent in releasing the document.
Later today, Bill Clinton will sit for the same deposition. The Clintons said they wanted these hearings to be held in public, but Republicans on the committee chose for them to be closed. John Stolnis, Washington.
Today, the last day to vote early in the primary elections in Texas. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports from a state where there's speculation parts of it could turn from red to blue.
There's long been talk that Texas could turn blue, but it hasn't. Former Democratic Congressman Beto O'Rourke won historically red Tarrant County when he ran against Senator Ted Cruz in 2018. But no recent candidate from the Democratic Party has been able to get over the hump in Texas. State Rep James Tallarico is hopeful that can change. He was on CBS's Late Show host Stephen Colbert's YouTube channel, accusing the Trump administration of censoring the interview.
I think that Donald Trump is worried that we're about to flip Texas.
The Trump administration denies censorship, and the FCC points to equal time rules for political candidates. This is Tallarico's opponent in the Democratic primary for Texas Senate, rips Tallarico for his campaigning style, specifically TV ads. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
The ads that are darkening my skin and this continual kind of if she wins, we lose. It's not even undertones right now. It is straight up racist. And I need people to understand that that cannot be the way that we proceed. If we are going to win, we are going to have to win because we are united.
Tallarico denies using race in the campaign, and on the Republican side in that race, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is facing off against Republican Wesley Hunt and incumbent senior Senator John Cornyn of Texas. To date, Democratic voter turnout has been high in the Lone Star State.
Republicans usually outvote us 70-30, 65-35. The fact that we are ahead of them right now in early voting shows that Democrats across this state are ready to turn out and vote.
That's Kendall Scudder with the Texas Democratic Party. He told Fox 4 News in Dallas he believes both Democratic candidates would support the winner if they lose.
I know both of our candidates very well. I have for years. They are good people who understand and have a very strong North Star for what we're trying to do here and what we're trying to accomplish.
According to early voting numbers, after just 1 week, 78,000 Democrats voted early. That's more than 3 times in the same period in 2022 and in 2024. About 15,000 more Republicans voted compared to 24, and in Tarrant County, where Fort Worth is, close to 56,000 Democrats voted in the first week of early voting. 40,000 Republicans did. Early voting ends today. I'm Clayton Neville.
Visitation has begun at his Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters in Chicago to honor the late Reverend Jesse Jackson, who died at the age of 84. Lisa Dwyer reports on memorial services and events to honor the civil rights leader.
Memorial services for Reverend Jesse Jackson begin in Chicago and stretch across the country to honor his long civil rights legacy.
Our family is overwhelmed and overjoyed by the amazing amount of support that is being offered by common, ordinary people whom our father's life has come into contact with. We see this as a unique opportunity to lay down some of the political rhetoric and to lay down some of the division that deeply divides our country, and to reflect upon a man who brought people together.
Jackson will lie in repose for 2 days at the Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters. Events also take place in Washington, D.C. and in South Carolina, where Jackson was born and began his activism. Jackson died last week at 84 after a rare neurological disorder. Tributes have spread worldwide.
I've seen him stand up against adversity. I've seen him break history. There would not have been a Democratic Party the way it is today had it not been for him changing the rules that opened the door to Barack Obama and Bill Clinton.
Digital screens on Chicago's L trains display Jackson's portrait and his well-known mantra,
I am somebody. Respect me.
His family says the services are open to all. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Among the stories we're covering next on America in the Morning, Trump's Surgeon General nominee in the hot seat and a violent Mexican drug cartel. Those stories and more after these messages. Casey Means, President Donald Trump's pick for Surgeon General, does not yet appear to have the votes for confirmation following a testy Senate Health Committee hearing on her nomination Wednesday. Senators of both parties pressed Means over her views about vaccines at the hearing. Means did not commit to promoting them, and at least two GOP senators, Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, are on the fence about approving her, according to Politico. The Senate committee is split between 12 Republicans and 11 Democrats, so any one Republican could sink Means' chances if Democrats, as expected, all vote against the nominee. The Surgeon General is the nation's top doctor and a high-profile spokesperson on public health. Shifting gears, FedEx announced Thursday it will return any tariff refunds it may receive to its customers who paid them as it seeks compensation from the federal government for tariffs paid that were subsequently ruled illegal. Correspondent Ed Donahue reports this after the historic Supreme Court decision.
FedEx says it will pass along tariff refunds to shippers and consumers. FedEx filed a lawsuit in the Court of International Trade to get a refund on what it paid for tariffs set by President Trump. Last week, the Supreme Court ruled those tariffs are illegal. After the ruling, the president said there was no mention of what happens next.
Wouldn't you think they would have put one sentence in there saying that keep the money or don't keep the money, right? I guess it has to get litigated for the next 2 years.
More than 1,000 companies have filed suit to recoup cost from tariffs. FedEx joins other corporations like Costco and Revlon. Setting up a system for refunds will likely be a lengthy process. I'm Ed Donahue.
If your wallet's feeling a bit lighter, look no further than the gas pump. Gas prices have steadily risen, according to AAA, with the average price for a gallon of regular nationwide now at $2.98. That's 6 cents higher than last week and a dime higher than last month. The price of gas in Oklahoma is up about 15 cents, sitting at $2.43 a gallon, but that's still the lowest statewide average in the nation. A total of 38 states still have gas prices below $3. Those who are paying the highest are buying gas in Washington state at $4.35 a gallon, Hawaii $4.40, and in California the average price is $4.63 a gallon. America in the Morning continues. With concerns over cartel violence causing instability and trapping many visitors at their hotels, soccer's FIFA leader is backing Mexico as a World Cup co-host Even as the unrest continues to flare, correspondent Gethin Coolball reports.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino says he has complete confidence in Mexico as a World Cup co-host, despite days of cartel violence in the country that has left at least 70 people dead. FIFA says Mexico can still safely co-host the World Cup despite deadly cartel violence linked to a top drug lord's death. On Monday, authorities reported at least 70 deaths after cartel members burned cars and blocked roads in many states. Some local league matches have already been postponed. Infantino says he trusts Mexico's authorities and FIFA is monitoring events closely. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
The new old tech guy, Chuck Palm, reports the AI agent says, yes, you can get fries with that at Burger King.
Burger King is flipping the script on fast food tech with a new AI assistant named Patty. Yes, like the hamburger patty. And it's rolling out as a voice-powered helper right inside the Burger King employee's headset. It's powered by OpenAI and integrated into what's called the BK Assistant platform. Patty pulls together data from the drive-thru chats, the kitchen gear inventory, and the point-of-sale system. Crew members can ask hands-free questions like how many bacon strips go on that maple bourbon barbecue Whopper or how to clean the shake machine. It also flags managers when equipment is down or stock is running low, and then updates the digital menus and kiosks in about 15 minutes to keep things accurate. But here's the rub. Patty listens in on drive-thru interactions to coach on things like friendliness. It's trained to pick up on polite phrases like please and thank you and welcome to Burger King. Based on feedback from franchisees and customers, managers can query how their location's doing on those metrics. Burger King's Chief Digital Officer, Thibaut Roux, stresses that it's a coaching tool, not an individual surveillance bot. They're still working on capturing tone beyond just keywords, and hospitality is at its human core. The pilot is running in around 500 U.S. restaurants right now, with the full BK Assistant app rollout plan for all locations by the end of 2026. Visit thenewoldtechguy.com. I'm Chuck Palm.
Friday Sports is in on America in the Morning. Here's Robert Workman.
NBA Thursday, the Hornets stung the Pacers 133-109. Brandon Miller had 33 points. Charlotte's Con Kneppel sank 8 three-pointers and broke the rookie record for made threes in a season with more than 20 games left to go. The 4th overall pick last June out of Duke actually leads the entire NBA with 209 three-pointers. But Coach Charles Lee says he's more than just a hired gun.
On top of shooting the ball well, I think he's a really good driver, under control driver, and makes really good passes too. And so he's always just in a mindset of how can I play make, not only for myself, but for the whole team.
76ers turned down the Heat 124-117. Tyrese Maxey broke Allen Iverson's franchise record for 3 balls. He's now at 887 and counting. Sun shaded the Lakers 113-110 on Royce O'Neal's three-pointer in the final second. Spurs sailed to their 11th straight victory, a wire-to-wire win over the Nets. Julien Champagny had 26 points, one of 7 Spurs in double figures. Blazers burned the Bulls. Chicago has lost 11 in a row. Hawks walloped the Wizards. Ex-Wiz forward Corey Kispert had 33. He was part of the Trae Young trade. Rockets got a season-high 40 from Kevin Durant and edged the Magic. Pelicans jostled the Jazz. Sadiq Bey with 42 points. Kings topped the Mavericks, and the Timberwolves sank the Clippers. NHL, the Wild whipped the Avalanche 5-2. Gold medal Olympian Matt Boldy with 2 goals and 2 assists. Philip Gustafson stopped 44 shots for Minnesota. Oilers routed the Kings 8-1. Connor McDavid, one of 7 Edmonton goal scorers. His tally ensures the 9th 100-point season of his career. Blues bashed the Kraken 5-1. Dylan Holloway with a hat trick and a helper. 3 overtime affairs. Islanders clipped the Canadiens 4-3, Flyers rallied to top the Rangers 3-2, and the Red Wings sank the Senators 2-1 in OT. Dylan Larkin with both Detroit goals. Wins for the Hurricanes, Panthers, Penguins, Bruins, Predators, and Flames. That's Friday Sports.
Update on President Trump's ballroom project when America in the Morning continues after these messages. America in the Morning continues. A federal judge is rejecting a bid to temporarily halt President Trump's $400 million White House ballroom project. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports the judge did leave the door open to revisit the case if opponents of the president's plan reframe their legal claims.
A federal judge has rejected a preservationist group's bid to block President Trump's $400 million White House ballroom project. The National Trust for Historic Preservation sought to pause the project until it undergoes independent reviews and gets congressional approval, neither of which the president sought before demolishing the East Wing and moving ahead with construction. A judge says the group's unlikely to succeed on the merits of its bid, saying the challenge was based on ragtag theories. The president's hailing the ruling as great news for America, months after saying the ballroom will live long into the future.
It'll be the most beautiful ballroom anywhere in the world, I think.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Neve Campbell is back with the Scream franchise. The 7th film in the 30-year run of horror flicks, Kevin Carr has a sneak peek at Scream 7.
After a successful reboot and a short hiatus, the Scream franchise takes another stab at more victims.
Hello?
Hello, Sydney. Did you miss me?
Neve Campbell returns as Sidney Prescott, trying to raise her daughter to have a normal life.
Your daughter, Tatum, is the same age that you were when this whole thing started.
However, when another iteration of the Ghostface Killer shows up, her family and everyone she knows is both in danger and a possible suspect.
Nice little town you found. You and your pretty daughter. Reminds me of where we grew up.
Rivaling Halloween as one of the longest-running slasher series with a continuing storyline and stars, kind of, Scream 7 does its job.
Creepy is kind of hot.
And for the 7th film in a 30-year-old franchise, it's much better than other attempts.
This is gonna be fun.
However, the movie gets bogged down in its own self-referential setup.
This killer has been planning his attack for years.
The first movie was originally meant to deconstruct slashers. Now it hoists itself on its own petard by appealing to nostalgia for multiple generations and dipping into a forgettable character pool.
I'm gonna burn it all down.
Series creator Kevin Williamson comes back to direct, but I miss the style of Wes Craven and the fresh take from Radio Silence.
Not this time.
Still, it's better than that dreadful I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot. Scream 7 gets 3 Ghostface out of 5. I'm Kevin Carr, and that's the way I see it.
America in the Morning for Friday, February 27th, 2026 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.